Good morning, everybody. Today's daf is design Amud Aleph, but we're still into Svav Amud Beis. And this year today is Lerefuas Norman Pro, Lea Bastom, Shmuel Avron Ben Yudis, Yudis Basrif, Kaplina Chai, Bas Geula Rochel, Ruven Yaakov Ben Golda, Esther Gabriel Batzor, Chana Batzima Tomo, Bas Nomi, Beila Zisl. In Bar Bat Yael, Tzvi Herzl Ben Denis, Esther Forum, Bas Shana Malka, Besorg Shachol Yisrael, Ilu Nishma Sovimer, Menachem Ben Akiva. Omar Rove Hilchasa. The line starts with the word Hilchasa. That's more or less 10 lines from the bottom of the page. But before that, I owe you a debt, which unfortunately I cannot pay. You asked me a question yesterday, and I do not have an answer. You asked me yesterday, and I did not find it in any of the Meforshim. I did not find any Perush, not Rishonim, not Achronim. I surreptitiously, secretly went and opened the A book, the art scroll. Yeah, I went that low, and they had no answer either. So the question was, I did. Oitzar Chochma, even Oitzar Chochma didn't have it. No, you're right. Yeah, and Chinami. Oitzar Chochma, you have to know also how to look, and you can look in Oitzar Chochma for like 10 hours. In any event, so the question was yesterday, we said that if a brother gives money to a sister, right? So Shmuel said money for Kiddushin and Sarat Mekudeshesli, and we assume that he knows for sure that Kiddushin don't apply when it's your sister. Yeah, maybe today, I don't know. Stop. Yeah, there's no such thing as Kiddushin with your sister. So why did he give her the money? The question was, did he give her the money for Pikodon? That was Rav, right? He deposits in her hand. And by the way, I want to add something I didn't say yesterday. Some Rishonim explained it's like a milva. It's like a loan. Yeah, he knows she needs a loan, and she feels bad asking, so gives her a loan in the form of like Kiddushin. What about Shmuel? Shmuel said it's a matana. He's giving her a gift. Why is he giving her a gift? He likes her. She needs a gift. She's needy. And she doesn't want to get a gift because she feels bad. She feels bad to get tzedakah from her brother. So instead of that, he wants to do it in a more respectable way, respectful, and he's giving her money of Kiddushin. So everyone's asking, including Baruch, good morning, who said that is it more respectful to be married to your brother than to get a gift? It's less respectful. Good question. I don't know. Maybe she thinks the Kiddushin work. Maybe she thinks it's more of a funny joke in a joking manner. It's nicer. Maybe that's the idea. Yeah, maybe just to give her tzedakah. You say Mekudesh Sli, maybe a more humorous way. That's the best answer I can come up with. But I didn't see any answer anywhere, so I think we shall continue. There are more things that I want to tell you, but can actually intertwine them in today's shir. The line starts with the word Hilchasa. Yes, Yaakov. Next piece. Let's finally continue. Hilchasa, halacha is, listen to this. We learned a few sugyas recently, all connected to each other. Rav is telling us now what is the halacha. And although usually halacha follows Shmuel when it comes to dini, to monetary issues, yeah, are you with us? Hilchasa is the about 10 lines from the bottom of the page. Now halacha is like Rav. Hilchasa. Yesh lo mois v'yesh lo shevach. First of all, yesh lo mois v'yesh lo shevach. The person who actually bought something from the Gazlan, right? Not knowing that he's a Gazlan, okay, right? What do we say? Now, the Nigzal, the victim, came to the customer and rightfully demanded it from him. Now, the customer goes to the seller thief, Mr. Schwindler Shimon, seller thief, the middle guy, and says, give me both money of the basic amount that I bought, the base amount, the million shekel I bought for I gave you for the apartment, and the shevach, I invested $500,000, so give it to me, right? The victim, how much does he have to give him? Only for the expenses, not $500,000, only about 100,000, however much he invested. But most of the money, including the improvement, he lost. And therefore, he's going back to the seller. Then also, just the Gazlan will give him the 50. The Nigzal, the victim, will give him 50. The Nigzal only gives him what he spent, not how much he made, low or high. Only the amount that he spent. Or less than what he spent, excuse me. If he spent 100, the new apartment owner, the buyer, spent 100,000 in a new kitchen, a new chandelier, new tiles, and it became only 50 more than before, then he only gets 50. Thank you for the reminder. Good, thank you. Now, what about the shevach? What did Shmuel say about receiving the shevach? Says Shmuel, looks like ribis. Says Rav, no, it doesn't look like ribis, and yes, you can get it. So what do we say? Yeah, yesh lo the yesh lo shevach. We pass it like Rav. The afal pi sheloi pirash lo shevach. Yeah, even if it did not, was mefarish the shevach, which means even if it doesn't say outright in the shtar, when Mr. Schwindler sold him the land, as much as it's a lie, but there were conditions, right? So let's say he wrote a shtar, and in the shtar, the seller did not write in it, I will also compensate you for the extra investment. It wasn't written. Says Rav, and again, it's Rav against Shmuel. Still, the shevach is automatically included in what? In the achrayas. As opposed to Shmuel, who said twice that you have to consult. Remember? Twice we said b'shem Shmuel, if you're a good professional soifer, you have to consult and ask, what's the achrayas? That is include this and include that. How do you want your coffee? With or without sugar? With or without milk? Yeah? That says Rav, no. Says Rav, the assumption is it always includes the shevach, even if it's not included in writing in the shtar. So one strike for Rav. Give me R. A kirba, no questions. Now, 1 second. He kirba she'ena shaloi. Let's say, second case, which we recently had, let's say the buyer recognized and realized that the field is stolen, not his, right? And yet velokho, and he bought it, and we know that the purchase is shtuyot. So why did he give him the money? What do we say? Says again Rav, and we pass him like him. Shevach and loi. He gets the money, but not the shevach. The shevach, of course, he doesn't get because he knows it's not a real sale. Yeah. Why does he get back the money? Says Rav, because the idea of giving money to someone whom you know it's not a real business deal is just a pikodon. And I want to stress what I told Yaakov before. Some Rishonim say when the Gemara says it's a deposit, it's not mamsha deposit, it's a loan. Why does he want to lend his money to a ganav is a good question. But he knows lemaisa. It's actually a very smart move. If I want to lend my money to a ganav, then what do? I take the apartment, and the apartment now is like in a way like a collateral in my hands. So it's true that the apartment will be snatched away from me, but then I'll be able to make a big stink and say, "Hey, the apartment was snatched. Give me back the money." Right? I'll tell you something. I'm not saying it's a nice thing to do. Let's say somebody is stuck for cash. What can he do? He has no cash. He needs cash. He goes. I'm not saying this is a nice thing to do. Don't do that at home. I'm not joking. Let's say, but that's what this guy's doing. Let's say you go to a shop and you pay them with credit card, right? And you buy something and then you return it and it'll give you cash. So you got cash. I'm not saying this is a nice thing to do. I'm not recommending it yet. But Lamaisa, this is what's happening here. It does. In England, it happens. People do it. In England, sure, $1,000,000,000. I'm not in it. Maybe I'm in England. You go to Marks and Spencer, you pay with I don't know Marks and Spencer. Yeah. No. So in England for sure, they used to give cash, £10 cash, and you have cash in your pocket. Yeah, they can give you cash. And sometimes he says, "I want cash," they'll give you cash. Today, I don't know, but they used to. I think so. Yes. That's in Israel, they credit you, right? But back then they would give you cash. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but that's what the guy's doing. Basically, he's lending you money, getting the land, which he says, let enjoy it while it lasts. Eventually, the bubble's going to blow, and then I will give back the land to the real owner and demand the money back from the seller. And halacha is like Rav against Shmuel. Wow. Now, before we continue, I want to point out something that Yaakov was mentioning. Did you notice something very interesting? When it comes, remember yesterday we had two cases which are very similar cases, and the Gemara found it hard to differentiate between them. One machlokes between Rav and Shmuel was if somebody buys the land from the Ganav, the money given is interpreted as a gift or as a loan, and the same thing, somebody Mekadosh his dear sister, not Chas v'Shalom, a pervert person. He knows Kiddushin don't apply. Elamai gives her the money, which is nonsense, and he knows it, and everybody knows. Is it like a matana or is it like a loan? Yeah, I was relating to a question, by the way, at the beginning of Shir. You know, it's interesting that one of the Achronim, one of the Shutim says, wait, when it comes to the sister, we're passing like Shmuel that it's a matana. When it comes to our case of the guy buying from the Ganav, we're passing like Rav, that it's a pikodon. Why? We're inconsistent. By the sister, we assume like Shmuel, it's a matana. And by over here, when we talk about the Schwindler seller, When it's a tough man's world, we assume it's not a matana, it's a loan, it's a pikodon like Rav. Machavrusa had a very brilliant answer. Machavrusa answered based on the Gemara. What did the Gemara say about what is the difference? The emotions. We assume a person loves his sister, brotherly love, more than he loves the foreigner, the other guy, the other businessman. And therefore, although Rav and Shmuel were both extreme, and Rav always said Pikod and Shmuel always said Matana, but the genius of Machavrusa said, no, we still hold of the difference. La halacha, we are not Rav, we are not Shmuel. We are like a center party. We are fence sitters, yeah. And we say when it comes to the sister, we believe Shmuel that it's a gift. He loves her. When it comes to the businessman, then we believe who? We believe Rav that it's just a pikodon. I saw another answer in the Achronim, but I'll give credit to Macharus or Reuven Berman. I saw a very nice tshuva about this. I don't like to be marich. There's a person who was sitting and drinking with his friend, a bunch of Jewish guys. And this is a story from one of the Achronim, sounds like a 200 years ago kind of story, Berech. Yeah, no, but he was, and he said, I'll sell you the entire Ir Hagdola Paris. You know what that means? Yeah, Paris. He said, I'm going to sell you Paris for 5 golden coins. For 5 coins, I'm going to sell you the whole of Paris. And he gave him the coins. And then he said, listen, joke is over. They finished drinking there. And he said, give him the 5. And he said, no, I keep this. I understood it's a matano. And of course, it's a joke. Nobody can sell me Paris. You know, the Eiffel Tower is just too tall for that. Yeah. But Lemaisa doesn't go in the suitcase. So Mimela, yeah. But how do you interpret the thing? So really, they said it's not a matana, it's a pikodon. Because everybody knows that it's a shtus gomur, that's what he learns. He says we paskin. He said it's a matana. It's a matana. It's a matana. It's a matana. Why? Because it's so ridiculous to sell the entire Paris. He wants to differentiate differently between the cases. To have the business deal, and this is something which we said yesterday at the end, is not so stupid. When I buy from a Ganav, first of all, until the victim gets it, I'm going to enjoy the fruit. And secondly, maybe I'll have it. Maybe I'll sweet talk the victim. Maybe I'll manage. It's not so foolish to buy something from a Ganav. Maybe I'll be stronger. Maybe I'll be tougher. Something may happen. Kiddushin is shtuyot. It's more foolish. Yeah. Everybody knows you can't be mekadosh your sister. That's how he wants to explain the difference. And Mimele says to sell the entire Paris is as stupid as mekadosh your sister. Paris is not yours to be sold. Yeah. Such a high level of tznius. That's why. So Mimela, why we say that it's a matana. When it's complete shtuyot, then we say it's a matana, and therefore the guy who sold Paris stays with the money and goes home. That was the halacha. It was such a cool tshuva that I saw thanks to a certain computer program. One more, and then I continue. You're being very patient and very nice. Third strike for Rav, although it's not so mefurish, it's Rav, but it is with Rav. Achrais though, soiferhu ben b'shitra mekach umemkar. Achrais though soifer. What does it mean? Achrais though soifer. Everybody knows exactly what it means. Achrayus. If a star is missing the line saying I am responsible and I give you warranty of whatever is going to happen, then does the star contain achrayus even though the achrayus is not written black and white? Yes, it does contain. The fact there is no achrayus is just a sad technical mistake, ta'ut sofer, mistake of the scribe. And now everybody knows that's true about halvo, because halvo, nobody wants to lend his money and not have any security. The chiddush is, and that's again against Shmuel, also in Mekach Umemkar. Whenever you have a tabu, whenever you have a shtar mechira, an affidavit of sale, even though the achrayus is not written, really the achrayus is included even in the Mekach Umemkar, as opposed to Shmuel, 3 strikes for Rav. This is Rav's big day. These are all dinimominous, and Rav is the man. Okay, so this is the halacha Shmuel, and now we are listening to a whole load of very, very good questions. New case based on the old case. Shmuel Merav. Shmuel is now asking Rav a question. Rav won on all fields, and now Shmuel is asking Rav a question. We're continuing the story of Shimon the Schwindler, and the plot thickens. What happens, and this is going to be from now till the very end of this year. If you listen and you're internalizing the first lines, the entire road will be clear for you. The person called Shimon, you know what he did? He sold a stolen land which belongs to Reuven, right? and he sells it to Levi. Very nice of him. Now Levi doesn't know. Back to the original case, Levi is as innocent as I don't know, a potato. He doesn't know what's going on. Now all of a sudden, you know what he did? Mr. Shimon the Schwindler now legally buys it from Reuven. Legally already, it was illegal till now. He wants to legalize it. Yeah, somebody sneaks into a country, is an illegal resident. Now he wants to get citizenship. Yeah, okay. In other words, yeah, now he wants to make it legal. So now, Mahu, what's the halacha? You may ask, what do you mean, what's the halacha? I'll ask you the question now. If the legal owner now is Shimon, right? He's really the owner. He bought it for good money. Okay. Now, what's the relationship between him and Levi? Not relationship love-hate. What's the business relationship between him and Levi? I would say Shimon now can go to Levi and say, I'm now the real owner, right? And therefore get out of my house. I know I sold it to you. It was all fake. I'm sorry. You may not like me. Okay, thank you. But Lamai, I'm not a nice guy. Good, fine, no problem. In the business world. And now I'm the owner. You were never really the owner. Mr. Levy, you were never the owner. The whole thing was stolen. Now, although I came after you, I didn't come after you because it was all fake. Now comes the truth. I really bought it with real money. Here I have all the proof for that. The star and the screenshot of the thing, everything of the transfer. I'm the owner. And therefore what? Therefore, get out of my house. That's one option because I'm the owner. Not retroactively from now on. Not retroactively. Right. Not Nachon. Because everything was fake. True. Yes, I'm a liar. I'm a bad guy. You can kill me. The whole thing was fake. I'm not saying retroactively mine. No. From now on, it's mine. Since today, hey Elul, now I bought it today. I'm now the owner of the house. So I'm not a nice guy. You can call me thief, call me whatever you want. Lamaisa, I'm the owner now. Get out of here. It's my house now. The money. Give me that. I'll give you back the money. You mean the money? Okay, no problem. You scream at me because you paid me $1 million. The transfer is on its way. Boop. In Wi-Fi world, it happens seconds, and $1 million shekel will be back in your account, Mr. Levy, tomorrow. But now, get out of my house because it's my house. And he doesn't say like nice in Mexico, mi casa, tu casa. No, mi casa is not tu casa, and therefore, I don't say bad words. Therefore, B-U-Z-Z off. Yeah, get out of my house now because it's my house. Because it's mine. I bought it from the real owner. You, up until now, were really a squatter. It wasn't your fault. You didn't know. Thank you. But Lamai said the house wasn't really yours. The whole thing was fake, right? I bought it today, and I'm the legal owner. As the legal owner, out. It's my house now because I bought it from Reuven. The fact that was a liar and I lied, okay, that's my Hashem Begadnu against Hashem. What's relevant? True. And it stays nothing, right? Just like Reuven would have kicked you out. What's their narrative all the time for the past week? Reuven's going to get him, and Reuven's going to kick him out. I bought it from Reuven. I'm the new Reuven, new fashion. And therefore what? I'm Kilu Reuven. I'm now the new owner, and I'm kicking you out. You want compensation? Of course I'll compensate you for $1 million. $1.5 million, maybe. That's another discussion. That's one side, by the way. There could be another side, but that's a simple side. Right. But he's wrong. So I was under the impression that Leonovi really comes to us and Lila said and drinks from the cup. Under impression, many not It's getting hot. Let's stop the recording. Right. Yeah. Thank you. But no, I really enjoyed the give and take. You should know. I really enjoyed people saying Svaris. It's alive. It's here. I'm very happy. Comes the Heilige Gemara and says like this: Mahu. Omerle says Rav a very surprising idea. Ma mocher l'rishon l'sheni. What did the first guy sell the second guy? Meaning, what did Shimon Schwindler sell Levi Lakoach? Kol zchus shetovoi liyodoi. Any zchus, any right he will have in the field, meaning, who's the new owner? Who's the new legal owner? Shimon the Schwindler. Maybe it's Chozer B'tshuva, by the way. Baruch. It's Chozer B'tshuva and buying it legally. Yeah, the guy sneaked into America from Mexico, but now became an American patriot with a passport. Maybe wants to legalize it now. So now there's a tzad to say that Shimon actually bought it in order that Levi will stay in the land, and that was his whole reason. What? Says the Gemara, my time. What's the reason? Everything will be very clear very soon, people. Marzutra Omer. Marzutra says, Nichale He's happy, he wants, he's content. Which means we look all the time at Shimon the Schwindler like somebody from the cartoons, Ganev. Shimon is actually maybe normally an otherwise normal, more or less honest real estate guy. Shimon does not want to be called a thief by Levi. In other words, let's assume that this is happening, and by the way, it's a true assumption. Let's assume this is happening before the bubble blew, before the story blew up and stank up, excuse my language, yeah? Let's say Shimon says, oy vey, what did I do? You know, I sold this a stolen apartment. Very soon, Reuven will shout at Levi. Levi will come to me, screaming at me in the street, calling me Gazlan. I don't want that. That's why I quickly buy it to leak, because that's my only way to legalize it. I'm buying it now from Reuven, so my customer shall be happy. I want my customer to be happy, not because I'm a nice guy, because I want my business and me to have a good name. Actually, I have a friend who is a very good friend somewhere in the world. I won't say where, you guess. And he became, wasn't Carlo, became a real estate person. And he says it's very, very, very important for them to always be very, very beseder. You know, the Jewish and the Goyish, yeah, they want very much to have a good name, that they're very yosher and everything. It's very important for them. He's not a good guy, but even not so good guys there, they all want to be yosher. So that's what these guys want to do. And therefore, comes Levi to Shimon, comes Levi, and if Levi says, you bought the apartment? No, you bought the apartment only in order that I should stay there. If I see that you buy the apartment, that shows the only reason you bought it now is to be machzikit beyadi, because we assume, how come, as we're going to see later, all kinds of cases. By the way, this is the basis for a big amusement park ride. We're going to have a lot of cases, a question and answer on that, but that's the basic idea. If I see that all of a sudden, you, Mr. Gazlan, you so rushed to buy it all of a sudden, you didn't buy it for yourself to kick me out. You bought it only in order to, at least from now on, or retroactively, it's machlokes rishonim, by the way, to now legalize it to make me stay in the apartment. To imagine yourself the next scenario, the following scenario. They're standing in Beis Din, Shimon against Levi. Reuven is happy. Reuven got his money. Reuven is legally got his money. He's moving to Acapulco. Now, Shimon and Levi, they are fighting. Shimon says, get out of my house. I bought it. It's mine. Says Levi, no, nothing to do with emotions of being Ganev. I assume you bought it, and this is what Rav says, you bought it only in order to make me stay there, because I know that every normal person wants to have a good name. He's not a thief who goes in the middle of the night to people's houses. He's a white-collar businessman. And you know I'm going to shout at you calling you Gazlan. And how will I shout at you? 2022. You know, the social networks. Within minutes, your name will be besmirched, right? You don't want that. That's why you quickly bought it before the bubble blew in order that everything should be fine and I'll stay there. And therefore, I'm the one who's going to stay there. Because we're making like an ansahadi, like psychological assessment, that that's the reason the Ganev bought it, to legalize it and leave it, therefore, in the hands of the buyer. That's the idea that Rav says according to Marzutra. 1 minute, says Rav Ashi. Rav Ashi says a similar yet different reason. I'm repeat what I say. Similar yet different. Omar, Nichale de Leku Behem Nusei. He wants to have a good name. Leku Behem Nusei. He wants to stay, to have the name to remain, meaning maybe if it's a Schwindler all along, we'll see later. By the way, later we'll see if it's the whole wheeler dealer, it's different. This guy is normally an honest guy, and he wants to remain with his good name. What's the difference? What's the difference? The first opinion said, so the customer shouldn't scream at him in the street and call him thief, 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 or on the screen of the computer. And the other opinion says he wants to retain his good name. What's the difference? Same thing, right? Answers the Gemara. There is a difference, but both agree to Rav. They both explain Rav. The what? The reason you bought the house, the apartment, the field is in order to maintain it in the hands of your customer before anything blows up, before anybody would call me Ganev, or before my bad name gets besmirched. What's the difference between calling me Gazlan or having a good name? Yeah, or not? Yeah. Answers the Gemara. Ika beinayu, there would be a difference between them. You okay, people? Oh, no questions for the next 5 minutes. Ika beinayu, a difference between them. Demis lokeach. Let's say the customer died. He bought it. Who bought it? Shimon Ganev bought it from Reuven. Legal. You know, you go on the computer. Who's the baal of the karka in the computer? Shimon. Yeah. However, there was a sale to Levi. Levi still lives in the apartment. Eventually, Levi, nobody lives forever. Levi dies. So now comes Shimon to Levi's children and say the bonanza is over, the good time's over. You know that your father was in a stolen land, and you know that I'm the one who actually bought it and it's really mine. How can he say that it's his? We said he only bought it in order not to be called a thief. So he wants it to stay in the hands of Levi. Explains the Gemara. If the only reason I leave the apartment in the hands of Levi is so Levi should not scream at me at the street next time he sees me and says, "Is this you, Shimon? Thief, thief!" He's going to start shaming me in the street. Hamisle, he died already. Says Dayan Amud Aleph. He died. He can't scream at me from the grave. Mimela, I can tell them, yes, as long as he was alive, I allowed him to stay there to appease him, to keep him at peace, so he shouldn't scream at me. Now he died, it's back to me. And look, I'm the legal owner. It was only temporary, so your father shouldn't shout at me. You guys, different story. And therefore, when it comes to you, I want the apartment now to be mufka and goes back to me, because really, really, I, Shimon, I'm the real owner. That's one side. However, but if the person wants to have, listen to the word generally, but the general public, he wants to have a good name by everybody. When it comes to the children, he wants to have a good name, but the children too. He doesn't want the children to besmirch him. The Gemara assumes now that the difference is as follows. Not to be called a thief is a one-on-one against the person you sold. I'm the one who sold you in the office a few years ago. I'm the one who said nicely, you know, the business salespeople of the houses, they're always so nice and spiffy. I'm the one who sold you the house. I don't want you to scream at me, Gazlan. If it's the children, I don't care. But if I want to have a generally good name by the entire society, even the children, I don't want to have a bad name by them. And then the children would claim, you bought it for us. So the father, Zichron Levracha, and us and the children and grandchildren would always say, what a nice, honest guy. It's more of a general idea. The Gemara doesn't accept it, though. The Gemara says, soif soif, karele b'nei lokech gazlano. So what? It's also personal. At the end of the day, even the children of the customer would also point at him in the street and scream, Gazlan, you stole from our father. They're not the general public, they're the children. Imagine yourself, your father bought a piece of land, and it was all fake, and he gave good money, and now the guy, the mechutzav, comes, not only stole, he now wants to take you out of the apartment. Of course, the children would scream and shout and say, you're a Gazlan, you stole from our father. And therefore, it's not enough kamina. So again, no enough kamina between the two answers. Is it not to be called Gazlan, or is it having a good name? What's the difference again? The Gemara rejected the answer. Ella, the Gemara gives now a second attempt, which will fail. Ika benayu, the difference between not being called Gazlan and having a good name. Demis Gazlan. The Gazlan died. Let's say the thief himself, he managed to do a lot of things during his lifetime. He stole, he sold it to Levi, then he bought it again from Reuven, and now he died. He died. So now his children, the Gazlan's children, are now, they want to get the apartment out of the customer. The customer is alive in this version. The customer, Levi, is alive. The children of Shimon, Zichron Levracha, you know what they said in Shimon's hesped? With a nice, honest guy, with a nice, from guy, Shimon, yeah. Okay? And on the Metzia they wrote, you know, that the Malachim should look after the pockets, you know. So now the Gazlan died, and the children of the Gazlan now face Levi, and they say, hey, we just checked the father's paperwork, and we see that this apartment actually belongs to him. You called it the Gazlan? No. And Levi says no. Levi says, no, the only reason he bought it is only to keep it in my hands. That was the only reason. Now what do we say? If the only reason is that he himself doesn't want to be screamed at in the street or in the internet, and which is a dangerous street, and he doesn't want to be called a Gazlan, he died already. He died. After you die, what do you care? He died already, and therefore in that case, he didn't do it in order to maintain the land in the hands. He did it really to buy for himself. Once he's dead, once dead is dead, he doesn't care about his good name anymore. So we, the children, will snatch the apartment from Levi, because really, really, the apartment does belong to our father, and no good name business anymore. It's all over. He's dead. But if it's a more of a general word of him having a good name, even though he's dead, people after the death, they still want to leave a generally good name. Nobody will scream at them, but he wants to live after 120 a good name, right? I think everybody here in the room after 120 doesn't want people to say, that guy is not. You want people to respect your name after your ptira. Yeah, we're not animals. Right? So the Lamaisa, according to this, he should still maintain the apartment in the hands of Levi even after the death of Shimon, because Shimon still wants forever to always have the good name, saying that it stayed by Levi and nobody bothered Levi. Again, the Gemara frack the same question. A person after his death, what does he care about? After I die, I care about my olam haba. Yeah, I'm concerned, and also what? The children. I don't want people to point a finger at my children in the street and say sons of a ganav. He's a son of a ganav. I don't want my children to be called sons of a ganav either. So mimela, what's the difference? Ella. Now we come to the final clear difference. Ika beinayu the yahava b'matona. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant final answer. What happens? Listen to this, and that's the final story in this part of the sugya. What happens if Shimon stole from Reuven, gave him a matana to Levi? Levi gets a phone call one day. Levi gives him a matana, shtar with everything. Here's a beautiful new apartment just for you, Levi, because I like you so much. Says Shimon. Shimon fails to say that this apartment is not his, really, belongs to Reuven. Okay. Eventually, Shimon bought it from who? From Reuven. And now comes the question. Everybody's alive. In this version of the story, Shimon is alive and Levi is alive. Bis 120. And now what? Now comes Shimon and says, Levi, get out of here. It's now really mine. I give you a matana. It's mine. Look, here's a star that I'm now the owner. Says Levi, Mapitom, you only bought it in order to make me stay here. You bought it so quickly and dafka this apartment out of all the options you have, as the Gemara will say later, that shows you dafka have your eyes on here because you wanted to keep me here. Now you changed your mind, you Schwindler. You still stay the Schwindler. We said what? Who is right? We say really, Levi is right. And really it should stay by Levi. However, we said why do we say that Shimon wants to maintain it by Levi? Either so Levi shouldn't call him a thief, or because he wants to keep his good name in general. Here comes the difference when it comes to Matono. Why? Listen to this. The one who says that what? That the reason why Shimon bought it so quickly is so to have a generally good name. Matono nami. When it comes to giving a gift, he also wants to have a good name. Imagine yourself that Levi, who did not spend any money, what would Levi say? Yeah. If after he got a gift from Mr. Shimon, or the nice guy, all of a sudden Reuven will say, come and tell him, Reuven, let's say he wouldn't buy it from Reuven, yeah? If it comes out that he's a thief, you know what Levi's going to say? Levi will tell everybody, this nice guy Shimon, the donor of the apartment, is a liar, he's a ganav. So he doesn't want that. I don't want people to say bad things about me in general. However, man de Omer Nichale Deloni Kir Gazlono, the one who says that the customer should not call him a ganav. No, Levi cannot. Levi got it as a gift. Levi can't say you stole anything from me. I didn't steal anything. I gave you a gift. There's a pasuk in English, an American pasuk. Easy come, easy go. I gave you a gift. The gift was snatched, but nothing was stolen from you, right? Right. So if the chashash is because you will call me a thief in your own business deal, none of your business. I did not steal from you, not even 1 shekel. Omerle, magazlina minach. You tell him, Shimon to Levi, what did I steal from you? In other words, you see a guy stealing from a shop. Yeah, that's very bad. And you may talk against him, but he didn't steal from you. It's all different ball game. So again, that's enough kamina. If a guy, Levi, got him a ton of from Shimon Schwindler, then we say like this. If the reason we say that it stays by Levi to maintain a generally good name, then it stays by Levi. Because if Levi knows that Shimon is a ganav, still bad name for Shimon. But if you say that it's a personal taina, personal meter collision here, and Levi says, you stole from me. You can't say stole from me, it was a gift. Yeah, I gave you a gift. The gift was taken. I didn't take 1 dime from you. Not even 1 dime. Even a taxi to go to the house I paid. Was paid in full. What? In that case, we say that really the apartment does belong to Shimon. He'll take Levi out of the apartment, and Shimon will be there forever, happily ever after, because he has no interest of being nice, overly nice to Levi, because Levi only got it as a gift. Only when it's a mechire, when Levi actually invested money, then everyone would agree that, of course, Shimon only bought it, so Levi should be quiet and happy, and Levi should not say anything bad because Levi paid. If Levi paid, he's 10 times angrier. He paid. Taisa says, although the money will go back to him, but it's still called theft because I want an apartment that I paid for, not to be in the street with cash. I still lost what I bought. Yeah, weiter. It's a short time for questions now. Yeah, short period. And Rabbi Baruch. Yes, and then we go to the two dots. By the two dots, we're continuing from the word pshita after commercials. Pshita. We are continuing to elaborate on the very same thing. Let's review the dogma, the concept of love. If a Ganev bought the apartment that he sold onto Levi, and he now legally bought it from Reuven, right? It says it belongs to Shimon. Generally speaking, we tend to say that Levi should sit there and stay there forever and ever. Why? We assume that he bought it, dafka this apartment, dafka from this man, was his choice, because he wants to appease everybody. And before the bubble blows, before there's any court case, Shimon wants quickly to be mesader his mess. Yeah, before mommy comes into the room, you clean up the mess quickly. Yeah, good. That's what he does. He wants to clear up the mess and have it legal by him, so Levi should stay there. The question is again, how come Levi is the owner? By the way, maybe I was too strong with you before when you said the whole thing was shvindlerai. That will be discussed also. Lamaisa, how is Levi the owner? Because Lamaisa Levi has no kinyan, right? Why should Levi stay there? If that's what you meant before, then you're right. But we're going to discuss that later. Now let's talk about the first thing first. Shita. One thing we know for sure. Zabna. Let's say, listen to this. Let's say Shimon is a very big macher. He sold the land to two people. Wow. He sold it to Levi and Yehuda. He's a macher. He's a good businessman. He's a diligent guy. He's an active guy. Yeah, he took Reuven's apartment while Reuven was in Australia. He sold it to Levi, Yehuda, all the way down to Binyamin. And then he's a pawn, right? And then he gets it legally from who? From Reuven. Okay, that's case number one. Orta, let's say he wrote after he sold it to another equivalent case. Let's say after selling it to Levi, you know what he did? He wrote a very nice star, Yerusha, to bequeath it to his children. My dear children, that very same apartment that he sold illegally to who? To Levi, now is giving to the Kinderlach. Who's a nice father. The Yava b'matono, or gave it b'matono. He sold it to Levi for good money, and that very same apartment of Reuben, without buying it from Reuben yet, he gave it b'matono to Shlomiel. So then, lav leuk mekam elokech kaboy. When he's playing the field too much, when he does more than one shvindlerai, or he's doing double sales or double maton or double Yerusha, then we don't say, I'm being now, according to the Ramban, the big machlok is what's going on here, says the Ramban, such a guy doesn't care about his good name. If it's a one-off slip, we say, here's a nice, honest businessman, he slipped, he wants to quickly fix it, and really wants Levi to stay. But if he sold to Levi the Shimon and gave Matonis, then Mecharai, I think such people exist in the world, I'm not sure, I don't know. Yeah, then what? Then we say, once he bought the apartment, he wants it for himself, because such a person, says Ramban, doesn't care about his good name. So Mistomi really bought it for himself, and he'll kick Levi out. Again, nobody supports this guy. No shidduch for my daughter, not him nor his son. But Lamaisa, he shows his mother as a brand. He is a shvindler through and through. There are more complicated explanations, but that's a poshut shot. Naflale be'Yerusha. What happens if, listen to juicy case, what happens if Reuven is the father of Shimon? Get it? Shimon stole the apartment from his own father. Such a nice man. Shimon stole from his father. Then his father died, Reuven. I wonder why he died, heart attack. Yeah, and then now, automatically, Reuven bequeathed it to Shimon. So now Shimon has it, but Shimon didn't do any tircha, didn't exert himself to buy it. It happened by itself. Daddy Reuven closed his eyes. So Shimon, who stole the apartment and sold it to Levi, is now the owner automatically, because now he's the owner. Then what do you say? Do we say that he inherited it in order to keep it by Levi? Of course not. It happened by itself. The whole vote is I quickly run and I do extra tircha, extra exertion, extra thing in order to quickly quiet down the winds. But if it happened by itself, says the Gemara, Yerusha mimelahi. Yerusha is something that happens by itself. The lav iuka torach abasro. Yeah, he did not run after it. He wasn't toreach. He didn't go to the hassle of buying it, and therefore, of course, it belongs to who? To Shimon. Only when Shimon is toreach, we assume he's toreach, toreach. Yeah, he's going to a hassle. In order to get it to Levi. Gabi iu bechoivoi. Aha, another case. Now that's a question. What happens if, we always look at Shimon as a bad guy. Let's try and be nice to Shimon. Difficult childhood. He wasn't taken to Disneyland every year, only once in 2 years. And besides, it's the other line of defense of Shimon. Reuven comes to court screaming at Shimon, you stole my land, which you sold on to Levi. And then, you know what he says? Says Shimon, you're right, I'm so sorry. By the way, Reuven, do you remember that 25 years ago, you borrowed from me $1 million? Oh, yeah. Actually, Reuven owed money to Shimon years ago. And now Shimon says, you calling me a thief? Maybe I'm a thief, but I want you now to pay me for the old debt that you owe me, Reuven, a separate debt, completely different before you got married. Yeah. And now I want you to leave the apartment to me, as a payment for your debt. Absolutely. And he did. And so he did. And so it was. So it was. Which means now Shimon stays with the land that he stole, because now that apartment is turned into a debt payment form from Reuven to him. 1 minute, please. Now, so we see something interesting. On one hand, we see that Shimon is the one who actually goes into the exertion, goes into the tircha of collecting the money from Reuven. On the other hand, it's not new money, right? He's not buying something with new money. He's not spending a dime. He's getting a debt. So that's an in-between case. It's not echad. It's not like the father died in hospital and it's automatic. It's not automatic. Shimon is working hard to get the money out of Reuven, but that money is not new money. It's the same money owed to him. Oh, here, no questions. Now says the Gemara Chazina. Now we have to see each case separately. We have to judge each case separately. Let's say Reuven, who's the victim, and Reuven is also what? The borrower from Shimon. Let's say Reuven has 20 fields, 20 houses, and the Omar, and yet Shimon, from some weird reason, says, Hi Ba'ina. He says, I want this one. I dafka want the apartment that is sold to Levi. That's the only apartment, dafka this one, which I want you to pay me. So what do you see? He dafka chose the apartment. He wants Levi to stay quiet and not scream at him. Why did you choose dafka Levi's apartment? He has 20 apartments to offer you as a mode of payment for his debt. Why did you have to choose the one sitting? You chose that one because you care about your good name. So don't kick Levi out now because you really want Levi to stay there. That's why you dafka chose this out of all the others. Yeah. However, if not, if the only apartment that Reuven ever owned, a nice kolel guy, barely owned one apartment, and now that one and only apartment of Reuven is the one stolen by Shimon and sold to Levi, and if that's the only choice, then we say Zuzi the Bayafrui. Then he wants just simply what? To collect his debt. And he wants to sit there. Reuven, we don't say, what do you mean why? I want to collect my debt. It's not in order to keep my good name vis-a-vis Levi. I want my debt back. He's screaming at me that I'm a ganav. I want to get settled. Go, how do you say in English? Get even with him. I want to get even with him and finish. But it's nothing to do with Levi. It's not in order to maintain my good name with Levi. It's simply collecting and all that. We're very close. I promise you, we'll anyhow finish very soon. And then you get your question. Last case out of all the cases. What happens if Reuven, Elul, Reuven is such a tzaddik, unbelievable. Like the stories of Rabbi Levine, Rabbi Sol Salanter, the Oev Israel. You know what happened? Reuven gave it as a gift to Shimon. Shimon is a separate story. It's not a father, not a thing, not a Baal Choiv. Shimon stole the apartment from Reuven. Reuven says, I know you had a difficult childhood. Your mommy didn't give you the pizza that you like. Just a different flavor. Oy, oy, oy. So Mimele says, Reuven, I'm giving you a gift That place. Wow. That place which you stole from me and you sold on to Levi, I'm gifting it to him, giving it as a gift. That I would say what? Of course, it didn't do anything. It's a Yerusha. Then of course that's nothing special, and Shimon should stay there. Shimon didn't do any exertion. Shimon didn't do anything in order to get the matana, right? It happened by itself. It happened by Reuven's initiative. So the Shimon is not doing anything extra, and therefore it should stay by him. He wasn't working hard in order to clarify his name to clear his name by Levi. However, pligi baravacha veravina. Looks like I'm wrong according to one opinion. It's a mechlokas bacha veravina. The assumption is that Reuven is not such a big Oiv Israel. There's a reason why Reuven gave him a tana of a whole apartment to Shimon the Ganev. Chad Omar, one of them says, Matana ki Yerusha, dami meila. One opinion, either Abacha or Ravina says, like I said, Matana is automatic. He didn't do anything, right? Reuven gave a gift to Shimon. Shimon sat there with his arm crossed. It's like Yerusha. It's an absolutely automatic thing. Therefore, Shimon is the owner. It just came into my hands like like an apple from the tree, and therefore I didn't do anything to make sure that you're happy with me, Levi. Wow. The other minute says matana is like a sale. It's like as if I bought something from the giver. What? I didn't buy. Says the Gemara, the love the torach be'artzi kamei, to say not nice English, if not for him licking his boots, that's a British expression. If not for Shimon, was machnif, flattered, and basically showed a lot of artsui, pleased and appeased Reuven, he wouldn't have given him the gift. Shimon is the one who told Reuven, oh, you're such a nice guy. Oh, I'm so sorry. So this, my mommy didn't love me and you love me and this and that. He's the one who basically garnished the relationship. He formed the relationship. That's why he did do it. That's why he did it. So that Dafka, Reuven should, be nice to him, give him the apartment. Why did you work so hard on Reuven giving you a gift with a silk tongue, Mr. Schwindler? Dafka, this apartment you wanted because you wanted Levi to keep quiet and not scream at you at the street. And you want to maintain your good name, and therefore now Levi will stay in the apartment. Questions? Came the do moment. Yeah, you've been very patient. Very nice. Questions? And the shir is officially over, but I'm listening to questions. Yes. As we're about to conclude the shir, Baruch is asking a good question. In one of the cases, we said that Shimon is not such a terrible guy. He stole, which is not nice, but really, Reuven, the owner, the poor victim, really owes money to Shimon anyways, the same amount. So why is Shimon so concerned, Bichlal, right, for his good name? Why would they have Havamina? If Levi comes and calls Shimon a Ganev, Shimon would prove that really the theft was just breaking even with Reuven. That will be discussed this afternoon with the Mehabarusa, and it's a very good question. Nice. Shkoich. Have a great Shabbos full of Aliyah Ruchnis and Chazorah over the Shir. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.